Hi everyone, welcome back to the YouTube video, the YouTube channel. My name is Tiffany Jakja, and this time we are going to be talking about transitioning into tech and within tech. I bundled these two concepts together because I noticed that quite a bit of people are transitioning from one discipline into another, or within technology into another area of technology. And I thought I could break down some concepts and also give some tips on how to do this. I actually came from a background in engineering, so a couple of you actually have either a background in computer science or in another engineering discipline. And even though I can't quite tell the story from like other types of backgrounds, I can tell you how I transitioned into tech, and then how as a computer engineer, and then how I transitioned within tech, moving from back-end development to DevOps, and then again into machine learning. So I've transitioned within tech a few times now, and I think that these tips would actually be really helpful for a lot of you. And so if you like this video, give it a like, give me some comments, and consider subscribing for more content like this. I am uploading every week. So let's get started with the first concept. It's about depth and breadth. I like to talk about these two things because quite a bit of people acknowledge that you need a certain level of expertise and a certain level of fundamental knowledge in order to get into technology. And some people will argue that you don't need to know everything before you get started, and of course this is really true. And I want to bring awareness to these two concepts because you're constantly going to be switching between the two in your journey within tech, and really in any discipline. It's actually really true when you think about other disciplines as well. Like, for example, a cook. We all know cooks can boil water, they have some level of proficiency within the kitchen. But if you were to tell me that you were going to become a cook, I would probably ask you, well, what kinds of cuisines would you cook? Or what kind of special cook are you? And you can actually say things like, well, I'm a pastry chef, and that will tell you that you have a certain level of skills that maybe other cooks who specialize in American cuisine may not have. So it's important to also apply that in tech. A front-end developer may know certain technologies that a back-end developer may not know. But at the same time, they both understand core skills. And so the idea here is to get enough breadth to be able to get depth. Something like breadth in computer science would be understanding the OSI model and the different 7 layers that you could potentially operate within the software industry, or computer tech industry in general. An example of depth is being able to pick a particular area and say, I want to develop applications, or maybe I only want to work with data. That would be a way to specify depth. And once you specify depth, you can build the core skills needed to be able to operate in those levels. And this goes into the first tip that I want to give you all, and that's to actually pick an interest. So get to know the basics, of course, of computer science. What is a programming language? I think so many people fall into the pitfall of not quite looking at all of the options before specifying that they want to be a developer, and then going straight into it and learning technologies that they're not even really interested in. And this is actually pretty common because for a lot of people going into tech for the first time or getting to know tech, front-end development technologies like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Even though it may not be your favorite, a lot of people will spend time here to learn core concepts. And I want to give this tip because I truly believe that if upfront you get to know the different disciplines within technology, that you can actually find something early on that may be an interest to you. And again, here the caveat is that your interests may change. And again, this is why I think that it's helpful to have this video also speak to people who are transitioning with tech. So the first tip here is to get enough breadth to be able to understand what kind of discipline you want to specialize in. You may take the cook example that we gave earlier on and say, all right, well, if I decide to be a pastry chef, that means I most likely won't get time. I decide to be a pastry chef and work at a 9 to 5 in a bakery, I won't have the chance to cook at a barbecue at the same time. So even though it's not like a hard rule, it is pretty true that there's different skills and ingredients that you would be primarily working on with any discipline. So front-end technologies, for example, would be primarily locked within that JavaScript ecosystem. Web development would have its own ecosystem, mobile development, data, machine learning, and all of that jazz. All right, so now that you've picked a general interest and you've begun to look into what it takes to build depth in those areas, I wanted to share this concept of a portfolio. So quite a bit of you who are transitioning to tech for the first time may have some type of background in computer science, may not have some type of background in computer science, but the concept of a portfolio is to be able to gain experience building out a solution or working on a particular project that can showcase your breadth and your depth of skills. Now, this actually gets into some nuance because certain teams or hiring managers may look for different types of skills to balance out who they have on their teams already. So you kind of have to get some nuance into interviewing skills so that you can pick up on what exactly are the skills that they're looking for and is this a good fit for me and my interests. But I don't want to get too sidetracked in that because that has its own merits and own conversations to be had. Regardless, something that is a good portfolio will be able to showcase that you understand on how to work on different product domains to develop a solution that works. And that's the idea, is that you can take ownership of particular tasks and deliver them from a technology standpoint. And I want to be a little careful here in terms of talking about a portfolio because I really think that you should be showcasing and building one that speaks to not only the technologies, but also the particular problem space that you had designed the solution for. Everybody knows that you can use any type of technology to solve a problem, but why did you use those technologies specifically? And how did you use technology to solve that problem is often the question that people ask on development teams is, all right, let's not even prescribe a technology first. Let's talk about this problem, fully understand it, and then implement some type of solution. And there's so many different ways to implement a solution. You just need to be able to talk about those trade-offs. So I really recommend anyone building a portfolio to spend some time thinking about why you're building this project and what it means to you, because it'll show that you're more intentional than the average developer in picking solutions and designing your solutions. Some of the best portfolios from people that I've seen have indications within their code base to showcase that this problem, a particular problem area, has been well thought out. So for example, if you're building out an API service that will be servicing the general public, you may want to have certain features for that project that will be helpful for a general public. Things like documentation or even test cases so that when you're pushing out new code, it's not breaking and people have a bad experience and decide that they never want to trust your products again or your solution again. Those things are important, especially as we think about our own experiences with different things like translation services or applications or even mobile applications these days. Either way, a portfolio is meant to give you the experience of utilizing the theories or learnings that you've developed through gaining breadth and depth. For a lot of people, sometimes this can stay very surface level, wherein you learn theory or you read a lot of things, but a portfolio actually gives you a practical way to apply these skills and actually build something that you can showcase when you're talking in an interview or talking about your experiences in a particular area that you don't have as much background in or history in. The third tip and final tip that I wanted to share with you all is to actually take chances and have fun during the process. I know a lot of times it can be really stressful to understand the core basics and then still be able to nail down all of the expertise and breadth and depth that you need to be able to get into technology. But the honest truth is we're constantly learning. Everyone is constantly learning. I'm constantly gaining new depth and breadth, although I've been in tech for a long time. And I think it's really important to be able to showcase that you're having fun in this process and that you're willing to take chances, even if it means a rejection or two. I think that it can be really overwhelming to try to get as much depth and breadth as possible in a period of time. And the honest truth is you don't need to cram it all in one sitting or one time frame. I know a lot of technologists that come into spaces and they have the core skills and they lean on their core skills and the core fundamentals to be able to look up anything that they need to, ask the right questions, and build out solutions that are equally fun and collaborative for everybody involved and successful at the end of the day, because it was all about that collaboration and passion and excitement. So I want to encourage you all to not feel as overwhelmed as if you need to know all of the things, because the honest truth is you don't. You only need enough to do your job well and get into technology and be able to talk about these things. So I hope that this video was really helpful for you all. Again, you will continue to build depth and breadth as you go along. Everybody does. Every senior engineer, every manager, every director continues to build depth and breadth constantly as this industry continues to grow and evolve and change a lot. And as it does do that, there's different abstractions and levels that become less relevant to know the granular details of. And so it's sometimes not even worth going through all of the nitty-gritty details until you actually have to apply it in a conversation or a setting. Which is why I want to tell you to take chances, because you don't know what you don't know, and it won't come up unless you go and take the shot. And I see so many people who are transitioning into technology telling me that they need to learn more algorithms, learn more data structures, learn more this, go back to school. But the truth is, a lot of times it's not even true, and people have the background to be able to transition in tech, but they haven't taken the chance, they haven't applied, they haven't tried it out yet. So I hope that this video helps you. I really appreciate the time and effort. Let me know in the comments below if you have any other questions, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Bye! And I wanted to give a little bonus pep talk to you all who feel like that you may not be making as much progress as you hope to. Those folks that are being hard on themselves and maybe not seeing all of the progress that they're making. It's the universal law of reciprocity that you get back what you put in. So even if it feels like you're making very little progress or not seeing the progress that you would like to see, just know that as much effort as you put in and as much curiosity and passion that you put in, you will get back something that is equally beneficial in return. And I remember when I was in a period of time when I was super hard on myself and I felt like I was not getting better, even though I was. And sometimes it just takes seeing problems again and again and again to know how to solve them and how to work with them. And that's how you be a good developer at the end of the day. Development is hard, and we tell all of these stories about the cool things that we've had to gotten to experience in the process. And it gets to be a journey that people reflect on. And I hope that you all can share similar journeys or similar inspiring stories as you go on your own. So again, I want to say thank you all, and I hope you find this video useful. But with that, I'll let you all go now and say bye for this time around.